Hi students, today we are going to talk about object oriented programming subject in the concept of object oriented programming. The object oriented programming having 8 different categories, we will see later. Before that, we have to see what is the what's the computer programming first. The computer, in the sense, there are two parts, one is hardware and software. We are going to only talk about software part. The software means the set of programs. The set of programs is help design to step-by-step process. The step-by-step process we call it as algorithm. So what is the algorithm? So before writing the program, we are going to write a step-by-step in a procedural order, that is called as algorithm. So with the help of the algorithm, you are writing a programs. See, the computer is a program, is a step-by-step set of instructions for a computers. So we are writing a program with a step by step, that is called as, every program is called as algorithm. The programming languages. The programming languages allow programmer to develop a software. All the software developed using some particular language, that is called as programming language. The programming language categorized into 3 main categories. One is machine level language, and assembly level language, and high level language. The first one, machine level language. All the computers only understand the machine level language. The machine level language in the sense zeros or ones. So we no need to convert. The user also, you have to do a coding in a machine level language. Straight away it's go to processor. The processor process the machine level language. It's very simple. Here you no need to any converters. So the machine level language in the sense, the comparison of zeros or ones, that language is called as native language. The machine easily can understand that language, that's why it's called as native language. So difficult for the programmers. The programmer doesn't know zeros or ones. Everything is written as zeros or ones. The programmer is difficult to do a program. So the example is everything is called 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. What instructions we are giving, what command we are giving in the format of 0, 4, 1s, the machine easily can understand, but programmers feel difficult. So next we go for some assembly level language. The assembly level language introduced in a microprocessors. The microprocessor only understand the assembly level language. That name is called mnemonics. See here, the assembly level language are set off towards easier to program. So the programmer also easily can understand, the machine also easily can understand. So that language is called assembly level language. The assembly level language are comprised a set of elements, commands, which are tied up the specific processors. The processors, already I said, the mnemonics can understand. The mnemonics, the programmer also easily understand, the processor also easily understand. So example, the add 1001010 means the 2 binary value with the help of mnemonics is going to add. That is called as assembly language. Here we are using some converters. Why we are using the converter means, already I said, the every processed by a processor, the processor only understand and zeros or ones, but the assemblers followed by mnemonics, here processor only understand zeros or ones, but mnemonic in the sense small command, add, read, stop, like this. So those mnemonics you want to convert it into zeros or ones, they are using for assemblers. The assembler to convert mnemonics code into binary language. The next one is high level language. That language is called as modern language. The high level languages represent a giant leap towards the easier for programming. So every programmer, very easy to programming, we are using high level language. The high level language means our natural language or spoken language, written language is called high level language. So example, we are going to find a gross pay equal to basic pay plus overtime pay. So we can use our high level language, you can do some calculations, very easier to programmer, but it's very difficult to understand the machines. So the high level language converted into machine level language means we are using same converters, we are using two types of converter we are using. One is interpreter and compilers. So what is the use of interpreter and compiler? So both are converted into some high level language into low level language. So it's having some difference. What is the high level language? All our English language is called high level language, but here machine only understand and zeros or ones. So we need to convert our high level language into machine level language. We are using compiler and interpreter. The compiler used for the whole page compilation and the interpreter used for line by line conversions. So this is use of compiler interpreter. Historically we divided into high level language into two groups. One is procedure oriented language and another one is object oriented language. The high level language divided into two parts. One is procedural oriented language and another one is object oriented language. The earlier version before 1985, some languages are introduced. That language is called procedure oriented language. That language follow the syntax and rules based programming. So those languages is called procedure language. The every high level language are typically called procedure language. The procedure languages are characterized by sequential sets of linear commands. The focus on such a language is called structure. The procedure languages having separate structure, we have to follow all the structures. Those languages called procedural languages. For example, C, COPAL, Fortran, Lisp, Perl, HTML, VBScript, those languages called procedure oriented language. See some example. The procedure languages means I am going to write some modules like this. This is first module, this is second module, this is third module, this is fourth module, means we have to write one by step by step. So this is the order. Suppose we are going to change this order means, so our compiler will not support. So this is called procedure oriented language. We have to do a coding in a proper structure. So this language is called procedure language. The next modern language is called object oriented language. The object oriented language to focus only for modeling the data. The programmer code using blueprint of the models called classes. Here we are using class and all. For examples, after 1985 introduced many languages, C++, Visual Basic, Java, .NET, many languages. All the languages support object oriented concept. We will discuss later what is an object oriented concept. But the first language C++ is first supported by the object oriented concept. But what is the object oriented concept? Suppose you have write some modules like this. Module 1 we are introducing, module 2 and module 3 and module 4. So we can connect different directions, that is not a problem. So this is called as object oriented language. We can write many modules, we can interconnect each other, so different way. But in procedure oriented language you have to connect linear order. So that's the difference of object oriented language and procedure oriented language. So we have to discuss some concept in object oriented programming. First one is object, and then class, and then data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism, and binding and message passing. These 8 concepts is called basics of object oriented concept. What are the language to achieve this concept? Those language is called object oriented language. So now we have to discuss one by one. First one is object. Is a first concept of object oriented programming. The object is a runtime entity of object oriented system. An object is entity that has state, behavior and identity. There are many objects around us. For example, every object having some identity. So take it as a pen. it's also having color, it's also having size, it's also having height and weight, everything. So every object having some properties, so those thing is called objects. So the first example, a mouse is an object, it is considered as an object with state the behavior, its state would be color, size and brand name, and behavior would be left click and right click. So we see this example, mouse, they are having different varieties of mouse, different color available, okay, different types available, and then double click, single click, that is the actions also available. So this is called as object. Take some many example, our human also one object, we are having weight and color and height, everything. Formally, an object represents an entity, either physical and conceptual or software. The object may be different varieties are there. One is physical entity. Physical entity means is a stable. Okay, those kind of entity is called physical entity. The conceptual entity means processing entity or processing our data. That is called as conceptual entity. And software entity, there is a virtual entity. So that is called a software entity. That's just 3 examples. The object may be any version, may be static or may be dynamic or may be virtual. The next one is called classes. The classes is an entity that helps a programmer to define a new complex data type. Objects are variable of a type class. A class defines a data and behavior of the object. The simple words, the class is a collection of objects in a similar type. For example, mango, apple and orange are a member of a class in a fruit. What the class is simply we call it as group of objects. So in a class we have many number of objects, the collection of object is called class. See this example. So mango is also one object, is coming under fruit class. The apple also is a object, is coming under fruit class. The orange also one object is coming under fruit class. So the group of object is called, we call it as class. So here class is represent data type, the objects here represent the variables. So it's a symbolic diagram of class and object. So the 2 objects covered by a single class. What is the role of the object here means? Already I said the object to represent the variables. The variable in the sense is going to allocate some memory for a particular data. Suppose the car is a class, we are having 2 objects there, one is a property and another one is method. So the 2 things to have to occupy some memory in your memory space. So those represent object. So the collection of object is called class. So next important feature is data abstractions. The data abstraction refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details. It is concerned with the separating the behavior of the data object from the representation. For example, executable file in a program. What is the data abstraction in the sense? We have to show some essential things. The hiding the background details, that concept is called as data abstractions. So take it as a bank example. The user want to know what is transaction, set password and then a mini statement. So those things only user can see. So those things coming under data abstractions, the user doesn't know about what process running in a background. So that entire concept is called data abstractions. Next one is encapsulation. The word derived from capsules. The capsules in the sense it's covered some drugs, covered with plastic cup. So that is called capsules. Here also the encapsulation concept covered or hide something, that is called as encapsulation. The class having many methods and variables and values, the covered by class. So the concept is called encapsulation. The encapsulation is a process of binding data members and function in a class is known as encapsulation. The encapsulation is a powerful feature of object-oriented programming. With the help of this concept, the data is not acceptable to the outside world and many those functions which declared in the class can access it. You can see some examples. Suppose we are writing any bank application, any other application, we are writing user interface design, UID, that is called. The user interface design is going to interact with the softwares. So suppose user is a Okay, suppose any registration form, any login form you are giving interact with the user interface design. All the softwares having user interface design. So, before the screen, what are the things we are seeing? That is called as abstraction. Behind the screen, what are the things is going to happen is that is called as encapsulation. So, the abstraction in the sense is going to show the essential things to the users, that is called as abstraction. The encapsulation is going to hide something from the user, that concept is called encapsulations. So, the abstraction is mainly used for user interface design, the encapsulation mainly used for processing the concepts or your softwares. Next, data hiding. The data hiding is similar to encapsulation. So, basically encapsulating the data members and functions in a class promotes data hiding. This concept will help us user provide essential features to the users and hide the details. In a short, encapsulation through private access modifiers is known as data hiding. The data hiding, it means hide something from the users. Okay. So, already we discussed, suppose your screen is there. So, suppose user going to only see what are the essential details, the user does not know background details. So, we are going to hide something from the user, that concept is called as data hiding. In a programmally, we are using and private and public things. Suppose we are write like this. Private. The private means what are the methods and variables declared inside the class we cannot access outside. So, those data, those member functions, those values hidden inside the class, that is called as data hiding. So, we will see next slide. The next concept is called inheritance, a very powerful and mostly frequently used in object oriented concept, that is inheritance. The inheritance is a process by which object of new class occur from the property of existing one. It is an inheritical order. The concept of inheritance provided an idea of reusability. The mean that we can add additional feature to the existing class without modifying. What is the first point says? It is acquiring properties from the old class. There are two classes is there, one is old class and another one is new class. The new class acquires some property from the existing class. So, that is the first line says, suppose we are going to purchase any online. So, suppose Amazon, Flipkart we are using. But in Amazon, once you place the order, it will going to ask the login information. We are going to use our Google ID or Facebook ID. So, the Amazon inherit those details from your Google or Facebook. That concept is called as inheritance. The next line says reusability of the code. So, no need to write any registration detail in a Amazon and Flipkart. So, those shopping websites can access the data from your existing one. So, additional without modification we can use the existing code, that is the main feature of the inheritance. Now, the inheritance also many types is there. First one, single inheritance. Second one, multi-level inheritance. And third one, multiple inheritance. And fourth one, hierarchical inheritance. There are four types of inheritance here. One is single inheritance, multi-level and multiple and hierarchical. We will see one by one. What is a single inheritance means? What is the inheritance concept? The new class acquire the properties from the old class. Suppose we are writing two classes, one is class A and class B. The class A is a new class. The class A is a old class, the class B is a new class. Okay. The new class access some properties from the existing class, means that is concept is called single inheritance. So, best example, we are writing a two functions, the first two classes, the second class accessing the property from the old class, means that is called as single inheritance. The next one I say multi-level inheritance. The multi-level inheritance sense, we have to add one more class, the class C, that is also new class. The class C accesses the property from the class B, the class B accesses the property from the class A. So, this kind of concept is called multi-level inheritance. Suppose in our family we are having son and father and grandfather, means the son can access the property of the father can access the property of his father. So, this concept is called as multi-level inheritance. The next one is multiple inheritance. The multiple inheritance is having two base classes or two old classes, the A and B. The C is a new derived class. So, here having multiple means they are having more than one old classes, only one new class. The new class accesses the property from the old classes. That concept is called multiple inheritance. We are having a father and mother, the child can access the property from father and mother also. So, those kind of concept is called multiple inheritance. The next one, hierarchical. Hierarchical in the concept, one old class, two new classes. This is a class A, class B, class C, new class. So, here one old class, two new classes are there. The two new classes access the property of one old class. That concept is called hierarchical inheritance. This looks like a hierarchy, that's why it is called hierarchical inheritance. So, the basically four types of inheritance they are using in a current scenario. Next one is polymorphism. The poly means is a many, the morphism means behavior. The polymorphism is an important object oriented programming concept. It is the term derived from Greek, the ability to make more than one forms. The process of making an operator to show different behaviors in different instances is known as operator overloading. Using single functions name to perform different types of tasks, that is called as function overloading. The polymorphism in the sense, the ability to make varieties of forms, that concept is called polymorphism. We will see one small example. Polymorphism. There are two types is there. One is overloading and another one is overriding. The overloading also two types is there. One is function and another one is operator. So, the overriding only one concept, virtual functions. The polymorphism sense we discussed to react more than one forms. There are two types, one is overloading and overriding. The overloading means a particular operator, particular function to behave differently. That concept is called overloading. There are two types, one is function overloading and operator overloading. The function overloading, we are accessing any method from your base class or child class, maybe two functions in a same name. So, that concept is called as function overloading. The operator overloading in the sense some operator to behave different operations. Suppose plus operator to perform minus operation and greater than operator to perform less than operations, that is called as operator overloading. And then overriding is a different concept mainly used in inheritance. The two classes having same name means the two classes is a, suppose this is class A, I declared one more class B. Both class having some functions. So we are creating object for class B. With the help of the object we are trying to access class A sum and class B sum also. Our compiler get conflict, that concept is called as overriding. So this how we are going to achieve this overriding is the help of virtual functions. This is a simple diagram of polymorphism. The shape is a function, with the shape is a function, it is covered, circle also coming under shape functions, triangle also coming under shape functions, and square also coming under shape functions. Many example is here. So chair, that is also one type of polymorphism that can applicable for plastic chair, steel chair, wooden chair. So that also coming under polymorphism. The car is coming under also polymorphism. Different varieties of car is there. They everything represent the common name car. So we are using this kind of concept is called as polymorphism concept. The next concept is called as binding. It's also called as data binding. When we need to execute any program, we need many library functions. When execute the particular line, that line going to call a library function, that is called binding. The binding refers to linking the procedure call to the code to be executed in a response to the calls. The object oriented concept having two types of binding, one is static binding and another one is dynamic binding. When you are going to compile a program, two states is here. One is compile time and a run time. Some library files is going to connect at the compile time, that is called as static binding. So also known as early binding. When some files is going to link the run time, so that is called as dynamic binding concept. It's also known as late binding. So those concepts also mainly used in C programming. The object to call any member functions, that is called also binding. So maybe it can use for static binding or dynamic binding. The next is called message passing. The communication between the two objects, that is called message passing. The object oriented programming object communicate with one another by sending and receiving information from the same way as people send a message to one another. A message for object is request for execution of the procedure and therefore will be invoke a function in a receiving object to the generated to the desired result. Suppose in a programming we are declaring more than one object, the one object requests to another object, that is called message passing. The communication between two objects, that is called as message passing. Every object having already we discussed property and methods. So for a single class we declare more than one object. So each object will discuss each other and sending and receiving information from the different object. So this concept is called message passing. So we already seen 8 concept and object, class, data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism and data binding and message passing. So what are the language to achieve this 8 object oriented concept? Those language is called object oriented language. The C++ is a first object oriented language. It can support for structural as well as object. Later after 1985 many languages are they introduced. All the languages called object oriented language like Java, C#, PHP. The many languages we introduced, all the languages to achieve these 8 concepts. So that's why that language is called object oriented language. Thank you.